wrestling buddies want to be your buddies.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, buddy. Buddy!
Dig it, sucker! Dig it!
You got me,
Dig it, sucker! Dig it!
you got me mad now.
Dig it! I'm okay!
As many of us get ready for hopefully a lovely Thanksgiving, the Survivor Series has come and gone, which left many of us feeling like turkeys.
Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wrestling Compadres Slamcast right here on AfterBuzz TV on Podcast 1. If you're watching, hey, what's up? If you're listening, thank you very much. Right off the bat, let's get into this. It's Black Friday coming up, and Pro Wrestling Tees is having their biggest sale of the year. All right, so here's the deal. Starting Wednesday, which if you're listening, it's already Wednesday, you get 5 days to get 20% off the entire Pro Wrestling Tees store, which means you can get this shirt that I'm wearing right here. You can get this right here. Get this shirt right there. That's the Wrestling Compadres original logo with the three of us on there looking handsome. Ain't that right, James?
That looks awesome.
We look good. Thanks, Pocket_Wookie. So make sure you go to ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestlingCompadres and you get 20% off the whole store. Hit us up if you have any questions. Other than that, let's get to the intros. Unfortunately, we do not have Scott Narver,
My boy.
in studio today, which is a darn shame. But we do have in studio a filmmaker who is the man behind the Young Bucks' Too Sweet Journey. Yes, he's the guy that went on the road with them. He's the guy that made the DVD. You can find him on Twitter at the Jimbo Slice, which is just I'm going to give you a round of applause for that, just to start off.
Thank you.
He is James Franck. What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
How are you?
I'm excellent.
Now you're dancing in the studio.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Wrestling Compadres.
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, man. It's good to be on here.
And you also are generally you're the camera operator for PWG.
I'm the camera operator for PWG, IWL, and I worked for Ring of Honor once when they did their California show, and I worked for pretty much like all the other SoCal feds throughout time, because you know how
throughout time.
Well, like
James
wrestling
Franck.
federations are up for a month, and then they're gone, and then they're back, and then they're gone.
I hear you.
And
I've worked for a couple that have come and gone.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, man, and congrats on the DVD. We're going to talk
thank
plenty about that as the show goes on. But we got two of the originals on the line right now. The OGs, if you will. First things first, he is the pride of TCU. He is down in Houston, Texas, but he'll be coming back to LA very soon. Find him on Twitter at crice17. He's the man, along with the other man on the phone who interviewed Lance Hoyt that you're going to hear in just a little bit. He's Chuck Rice.
He's a man!
What's up, man?
Johnny, Jimbo, listen.
What?
I gotta tell y'all, it's the season to be thankful.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
But I am not thankful for what WWE did to me on Sunday. I am not thankful at all.
We will get to that, but let me introduce the other one first, and then we will give you the floor. The floor will be yours. This other gentleman is coming to us from Washington, D.C. You can find him on Twitter at the Walking Dale. He is always vest for business. You know he Dale Rutledge.
My boy.
Whoops. There it is.
I got a puppy. I got a puppy?
Hey, brother.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
Hey.
Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker.
Wait, are you the one? Okay, so I know, Chuck, your time with us is limited, but luckily you already had the great interview with Lance Hoyt, but I know you had to get your word in about Sheamus. Wow, I just said his name. I'm sorry.
Who looks stupid now?
What do you think about that?
Listen, man, I felt obligated because, you know, on Sunday night, I was actually at a friend's wedding, and when I went to check my Twitter afterwards, it had blown up. And every comment and tweet at me was, how angry is C. Rice right now? How angry is this? This is the worst. You know what I mean? Honestly, this is the worst. How does WWE do this to us, Johnny?
Who looks stupid now?
Just to twist the knife for you. I don't know. Oh, man.
Look, I get it. Here's the thing, man. Sheamus is not a bad wrestler.
Not at all.
It makes me cringe to say that. He's not awful. But his gimmick is just, I'm sorry, his gimmick is stupid.
Well, I don't know if there
And-
is one right now. That's the thing. I think they have to develop one.
Well, they've been trying to develop one for him for years, and this is what the best they've come up with. You know,
But what is this though? I don't think we really are clear on what his character is at all, really, outside of maybe like pompous, I guess, and Irish. We know he's Irish. That's the only thing we really know.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, he was at Notre Dame holding up their title belt.
I saw the video. We were at Notre Dame with Whistle Sports this weekend, and like we were in Fenway Park the day before the game, and they were like trying out all the videos, and there's this one like pump you up style video for Notre Dame, and the first sentence comes out, and I'm like, that sounds like Sheamus, and then by the end of the 30 seconds, I'm like, son of a bitch, that's Sheamus doing the voiceover. So
it has like the NDs for the side plates.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, he's
what
the only-
part of the wedding was it when you found this out? Because like, you could have like ruined this person's wedding. Had it been like, does anybody object? And you would have been like, me! Sheamus just won! It could have been dangerous. Just saying.
here's what it comes down to, Johnny, Dale, and Jimbo. Here's what it comes down to. Very simply, it makes sense to put the belt on Sheamus.
Yeah.
Because, you definitely give Roman Reigns the sympathy factor now. And any of his detractors are probably going to be in his corner now, wanting to see him take it off Sheamus, because I think there's a mutual hate from everyone towards Sheamus, with the exception of the WWE writers and Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I like that Sheamus has some lackeys with him now. I know, Dale, you like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we were saying kind of beforehand. It's like Reign is better chasing than he is having it at this particular moment. Outside of, I know a lot of people were thinking he might do a heel turn. I didn't think it was going to go that way. I thought if anybody, Ambrose, but I like it for Sheamus's fact that he gets to bring in Barrett and Rusev, and they get to be, get a little rub from the corporate side.
And I think the reason that everyone was thinking maybe there would be an Ambrose turn, here's the problem. There's just not enough baby faces that people are getting behind right now. So you got to hope that they find something for Ambrose. And I was texting with Scott Narver over the weekend. Follow him on Twitter, at Curtain Jerks, of course. He's up in Washington right now, but he said, unfortunately, I can't make it this week, but I'm not really sure what I want to say about Survivor Series anyway.
My boy.
So that was his opinion.
It was just, flat out, it was good wrestling, but it was a boring pay-per-view.
Yeah,
there wasn't anything exciting that happened. There wasn't anything that, typically, and Survivor Series has always been one of my favorite pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
You've had some amazing things over the years. Like, my favorite story in all of wrestling was the invasion angle, And that was Survivor Series. When Stone Cold came back and he was, trying to hunt down who would run him over with the car, all that stuff, that was Survivor Series. There's, you could go on and on about really good stories and things that happened there, and they didn't give us anything at this one. And, they built it up with such a big build towards The Undertaker. Their match was lackluster at best. There was just, and I know that, Dale and I were discussing this, right after we finished the interview with Lance Hoyt that you guys will get to hear later. We were talking about, when you're doing a show for 52 weeks out of the year, it's hard to always be up on it. It's hard to always be making everything that everybody's going to like, and it goes in ebbs and flows. But this is one of the, as much as I want to be positive, and, I don't like, there is lots of negativity out there. There's lots of positive going on in WWE right now that we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That pay-per-view just didn't deliver what I have come to expect from the Survivor Series.
Yeah, what a difference a year makes. Let's go back to 2014 and the amazing story of Dolph Ziggler getting the authority out of office, and look at what's happened in the last year with him. It's such a huge difference. And I understand the Seth Rollins injury obviously threw everything out of whack, but how different would it really have been with Rollins' chance? I don't know.
It doesn't feel like a Survivor Series when you don't have Survivor Series matches at a Survivor Series.
Well, they did. They threw them together.
Yeah, exactly. You threw them together. It wasn't like back in the day when you'd get two captains and they built their teams, and you were invested in that of oh man, who's going to be the last person standing, or what if teams turn on each other, and I don't remember what Survivor Series it was, but when Razor was the last member and he had all 5 guys to go against, and then he ended up beating all 5 guys because most of them got counted out or DQ'd or something, and he was just like, huh, I won. I remember like
Cheat
Owen
code.
Hart walking back being like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
so
Dale, what do you think?
Even in more recent memory of having like Raw versus SmackDown, there was something at stake. You know, I mean, they just didn't have. You're right; these were just 5-on-5 matches. They weren't really Survivor Series matches in the fact that anybody was a captain, anybody had a team.
there should have been an NXT
some
team
tag
versus
teams kind
a
of put together with other guys.
WWE team.
And I'm exactly with what Chuck said. I mean, I'm growing up. There's nothing better, man. Like I was excited about Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving and Survivor Series at the same time, and this year just it's a shame with all the injuries happening. It's like now Cesaro's out and Seth Rollins is out, and so there's a lot of guys falling, unfortunately.
Well, but I don't think it's the injuries so much, the injured people being out. I mean, there's still a full roster. It's just that they haven't taken the time to build up the guys that they have. They've focused a lot of attention on a very small amount of people, and now that those people are not able to perform, they can really tell that they haven't spent the time to make you care about the other guys that are there.
Yeah.
I think, and I hate to bring this one up because, we've talked about he's been on the show in the past. He's a great guy, and I have to bring up what Mick Foley posted on social media this week, if you're not familiar, I don't know. Have you guys seen it already?
I have not.
I don't know. Possibly.
Okay. Basically, Mick did one of those things where he posted, he's like, I'm getting ready to become a former WWE fan. And
like
he went
did
into
after
talking
Tough Enough?
I'm sorry?
Like he did after Tough Enough when he's like, I have no reason to watch this show anymore because the only wrestling fan is now eliminated.
Pretty much. And it was pretty much, he's like, it basically goes on to say, in so many words, that WWE is slapping WWE fans in the face by the fact that they haven't invested, like you're saying, Dale, they haven't invested in the guys that no matter what the crowds cheer for, no matter how the fans show this is who they're for, WWE won't give those guys the rub, or they bring up these guys and then stop their push. And he mentions people like Cesaro, Kevin Owens, a couple others in there, and they're slipping my mind, but, he makes a really astute point with that because, Cesaro has the entire Cesaro section. People wanted him to get pushed, and I know he's out with an injury now, but they weren't doing anything with him before that anyway. You have a guy like you said, Dale, Barrett, like he has personality, he has charisma. There's people like Damian Sandow that, there's these guys that they could do something with, and right now they're seeing at a time when, John Cena's gone, Brock Lesnar's not involved in a storyline, Undertaker can't go every week, no matter how much you want to use him. Randy Orton's out. These are the guys that they've pushed down our throats for years, for better or worse. And when they're all not there at once, you can feel the burn almost.
But now's the time. I mean, it's funny with Mick Foley too. He always ends up getting invited back, no matter how he lambastes them on social media. Part of it makes me wonder if they're kind of in on it, and so they want him to incite an internet fury. And Mick Foley's usually the leader. I don't know if that's a work or not, but sometimes I get that feeling.
Funny story. I think the first time I met you, you opened for him at the Improv.
Oh yeah,
after SummerSlam.
SummerSlam's, yeah, right. I hosted that show. Super fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Crazy.
Go ahead, Dale.
I was just going to say, I don't think Mick Foley smashing a TV with a sledgehammer is really a work from the WWE.
I'm just saying. I don't know, because they always end up inviting him back. So I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
He's a legend. You always invite him back. It's like Hulk Hogan. They're like relationships. They go through breakups and get back together, and they need each other in a lot of ways. So.
It's a roller coaster of love.
Exactly.
I don't know. Bottom line here is that I hope that, while Cena's out, while, Randy Orton's out, while Seth Rollins even is out, that this gives an opportunity for some of these guys, look, how many people out there do you think, would be really upset if someone like, Damian Sandow got a huge push right now and became a top guy?
He needs to.
You don't think fans would get behind it?
Hell yeah, they would.
There's guys like Dean Ambrose, obviously they really want to build up Roman Reigns, but, if something's not working, try something else. And I get what they're trying to do with him. I think it might work for the most part for a bit here with Roman Reigns, but, this is an opportunity right now, Look, they had something really special a while ago. I thought that Zack Ryder should have been pushed a lot harder than he was. They never did it because he built himself up, you know?
Yeah.
At this point, they have to look at who cares what's building them up. If someone's there and they have fans behind them, push someone like Ziggler right now. This is a chance to give it an opportunity to try it, and if it doesn't work, don't worry, Cena will be back soon enough. But, you know.
With the Ziggler situation, I was thinking about that too. He's almost at the point where like he would have to leave for a while to make WWE really realize what they have in him, and then he would have to come back and get
Like Jericho, kind of.
yeah, basically.
Like, go become a star somewhere else and see, like, I can do other things, but I love wrestling, so I'd like to be in wrestling.
Yeah. But at the same time, Ziggler's very vocal on social media too, where he's like, I think he's kind of just accepting his fate almost in a way. He's like, look, this company is going to do what they do with me. I don't necessarily have a choice. And I think he's grateful for his position, but at the same time, he knows that he can be at the top. So I don't know. Usually,
and if they push Roman
usually it's a lot more
Reigns,
positive Thanksgiving week on this show. But what are you gonna do?
and if they push Roman
Well,
Reigns
and
the way they
I
want,
hated to do that, Johnny. I hated to start it off with that because I know we try and keep things positive, and it's
Right.
not to say that there isn't a lot of positivity that you can see going on in the WWE in the sense that, you know, like, look, what they're doing with NXT, that's fantastic. I hope that some of those guys will come up and actually do something. That's something that we can all be hopeful for.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Well, speaking of NXT, and you're right. I mean, we do. Of course, we want to keep it positive, but at the same time, we also have to keep it real for the fans and for the listeners. And we're kind of just reiterating what the general, thought is. Speaking of NXT, apparently Solomon Crow asked for his release and has been released.
that makes me so happy.
That one makes me so sad.
Okay, so you have contrasting views. Chuck, you first.
Well, I mean, obviously my view on this one is biased. I've known, now he can go back to being known as Sammy for years, and I just think that he had something special that was different, It wasn't the cookie cutter thing, and, I think it's really interesting that we can talk about that right now for a moment, because Lance in our interview later actually talked about that, how wrestling is supposed to be, people are supposed to be different, people are supposed to be characters, and I can't think of anyone better at being different and out there than Sami Callihan, and still being able to grasp fans in his hands, and really connect with them. And I don't know why he asked for his release. I'm sure he has its reasons, and I'm sure we'll find out more in the coming weeks, but I just really thought he could have been something special in WWE.
I agree 100% with all of that. I'm just happy I get to see him back at PWG and be like, hey, Sammy, what's up? And give him a big hug. And I haven't seen him since, his farewell match. But, yeah, like, when he left, I was sad. And then when I heard about, like, the Solomon Crow character and this, like, hacker, and at first in, like, one of the first promos where he's, like, in the suit with the cane and his hair was different, I was feeling that. And then it seemed like gradually they were just turning him back into Sami Callihan, but really watering him down and not letting him be Sami Callihan. Like, I don't remember what interview, but like someone asked him, like, what two wrestlers are you? Or maybe Tommy Dreamer told him, but it's like, if Raven and Taz had a baby, it'd be Sami Callihan.
Mm-hmm.
He's just that, like, badass, aggressive guy.
Yep.
And I'm glad that hopefully he'll be at All-Star Weekend and I'll get to see him and give him a big hug and, tell him I missed him, and he'll kill it. And everyone will be like, welcome back.
Go ahead, Dale.
I mean, he obviously wanted to leave for some reason, so I'd love to hear what all went down. To ask for your release and to get it granted are both surprising, to be honest with you. So I'm very curious as to the backstory. But we didn't really get to know him on WWE very well. I mean, he was in maybe a half a dozen, maybe a little more episodes, and that's kind of it. So I don't know.
Guys, the thing that surprises me the most about this, and obviously, again, like we've said, we don't know the full story here yet, and I'm sure, our opinions might change once we do. But for anyone that knows Sammy or knows his backstory, he fought tooth and nail to get to WWE.
Yeah.
This wasn't like, one of the guys where it just came to him easily, or they saw him and, he got signed. This is a guy that really dedicated his life to getting there, So whatever caused him to ask for this release, it had to be something significant. That's all I can say.
I wonder if his dad's okay, because When he was leaving, his dad was like in and out of the hospital. Like when he was leaving, like the Indies to go up there.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. Like
I mean,
wonder
it's
if
really up
anything
to him,
happened with his dad
and
or-
whenever he wants to, if he ever wants to let everyone know what his reasons were. I mean, it could be something as simple as the fact that, look, when you're under NXT contract, you're making enough to get by, but you're not exactly making much more. And maybe he feels like he can go back on the indie scene, or maybe
and rebuild his name
Yeah.
to be like a Balor or a Joe,
or
where people are
maybe-
like, okay, we'll bring you back, and we
Yeah.
want you to be you now.
Maybe he got a phone call from someone, and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, man, we can give you that. Who knows? But whatever it is, we wish him the best of luck. It is a shame, like Dale
Definitely.
said, we never got to see what we expected to see, and due to no fault of his own.
You know, Johnny, and the other thing that's just so disappointing about that is his buddy and his partner that he's tagged with on the Indies
Rich
before
Swann.
just got signed there.
Yeah, man, I was just saying
Oh,
that before
yeah.
we started. Him and Rich are like besties,
Yeah.
and Rich
So-
just like probably moved up there and moved in with him, and just got signed, and now Sammy's leaving.
Yeah, there's got to be something behind it.
Because on Battleground this week, you could see whatever barbecue they were at, Sammy's there, and Swan's there hanging out playing guitar, and everyone's playing N64. So they're already in like the same housing and hanging outs.
Right.
But yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, well, Johnny, can we jump from one sad topic to another just to get it out of the way?
What would the other one be?
I want to send love out to our girl Kia, Awesome Kong.
Yeah, I was interested to see Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet. Actually, he did a great job in saying that, Awesome Kong is not officially retired, and she made it clear that she's not officially retired. But I guess she was given some medical advice. Do you know any more about? I'd love to have her back on the show.
I don't. I'm trying to get a hold of her, and I hope to connect with her in the next couple days. But for now, she's done. That's all there is. And you always hate to see someone's career go that way when it's due to medical reasons and not on their own terms.
Well, right now, I believe she said she's waiting until January when her contract with TNA runs out, and then she's going to wait and see what they offer, what someone else might offer. But I don't think she wants to call it yet. But I think you're right. I think she's kind of thinking about it. So let's get her back on the show, though, if we can. It'd be great to have her.
Absolutely. Can we talk about something awesome now, Johnny?
Sure.
I mean, first of all, I have to give a shout out. It's been a while since I've been on the show for more than a couple minutes with you guys, and I'm glad I'm getting to do that tonight. But Johnny, it looks like our rivalry of the brothers Lockhart, with you with Eric and me with Andrew, is finally coming to an end.
Why is that? What's going on?
It looks like the brothers are reuniting. It looks like they've found their way and are getting back together for a big match this weekend.
No, you're kidding me. Eric still better send me Zubaz pants.
Well, all I know is that the brothers Lockhart are taking on one of your favorite tag teams, sir.
Who, Harlem Heat?
Replicate.
Harlem Heat?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
But the Wolves.
Oh, God, the Wolves. Hell yeah.
Like Davey and Eddie.
Damn right.
Yeah, that's going to be at WrestleCade in North Carolina, and that's going to be a hell of a
Are you
match.
going to be there?
I wished I was going to be there.
I was going to say, if you're going to be there, say hi to George South for me.
I wished I was going to be there for that match alone.
Well, that's
But
awesome,
that
man.
card looked amazing.
Well, good luck to the brothers Lockhart and the Wolves, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Johnny, I'm gonna leave you guys with that, but before I go, thank you, Wrestling Compadres fans, for making this year awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for always supporting us. I hope you'll have a happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say on the rest of the show about my man Zeb Coulter talking about Grindr.
Makes a miracle.
He's Chuck Rice, everybody.
He's a man.
All right. Dale Rutledge, are you with me?
Hallelujah.
You got to raise up. I don't know why I just turned into a preacher. Hey, so how about this? It's pretty much a free-form show. We got the great interview with Lance Hoyt coming up. 100th episode, gang, is coming up in 2 weeks. Tuesday, December 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be live at AfterBuzz TV.
Wow,
We're going to do a live
congratulations.
chat. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to do a live chat. And we may even take some phone calls. It's basically going to be a show dedicated to all the fans, all the listeners. We're going to try to have a couple guests call in as well. It's just going to be a big old party. I know, Dale, it's right before you leave for a cruise, but you're going to get on the horn as well, right?
I'll be calling from a boat, Johnny.
Oh, from a boat. He from a boat. Dale from a boat.
You sure?
Oh, I'm real sure.
Okay, cool. That's what we're going to do. Also, I want to say this as well. We had a really great Championship Wrestling from Hollywood taping this past Sunday, and it's going to be another bunch of great episodes. Our last taping of the year is going to be Sunday, December 6th. If we have that decal, Steven, if we could throw that up there, that'd be great. A lot of really, really good matches coming up, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So please check out Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Hit us up on social media. And if you're in Southern California, Sunday, December 6th, our last taping of the year. It's a super show, and it's going to be a really good taping. So check that out as well.
Is that at Port Hueneme again?
Yep, Port Hueneme, California. It's going to be really cool. All right, so with that said, are you guys ready to get into a little bit of the Slamcast news?
Is this a segue to an awkward soundbite?
And now we present to you the Wrestling Compadres Slamcast news. I'm going to do that every week, just so you know.
Oh, yeah, well, that's good.
Okay, you sound pumped. All right. Well, speaking of injuries, we already talked about this. Cesaro, unfortunately, underwent torn rotator cuff surgery. He didn't say what rotator cuff. The doctors didn't say what the surgery it is, but there are 4 muscles of the rotator cuff. So either way, safe estimate is 4 to 6 months. Knowing Cesaro, knowing him, he'll heal in 2 weeks.
Is this a real common wrestling injury?
The shoulder is the most unstable and most mobile joint of the body. So in other words, it's asking for injury a lot of times because there's not a lot protecting it, and there's a lot of a lot of bells and whistles in there. So it's pretty common, especially with a guy that does.
And from my understanding, he was kind of working on it, already injured for a while, and he just had to finally get it done.
Yeah, I think it was one of those where sometimes the wear and tear will keep gradually injuring something, and then finally it just...
Like the rubber band?
Yes, the rubber band snaps, and that could have been what happened for him, but wish him the best of luck. I believe he had surgery just the other day, so... Cesaro,
he was another PWG guy that was just so amazing and awesome, and he used to give you a free 8x10 if you brought him a cup of Starbucks coffee, because he loves Starbucks, like legit. Like I remember one show, like he had like 3 cups of coffee and it was like, I'm gonna drink all of these.
Oh yeah,
like he didn't care.
You know what's amazing? He did our very first taping of Championship Wrestling.
Really?
Ever. He was back then. He was the very European Claudio Castagnoli, right?
Hey.
And he's great. And him and I, we struck up like a cool little friendship. Like we ended up talking for an hour because I'm always interested in nutrition, and like I'm looking at him like, dude, how do you do what you do?
You're a beast.
He's great. He's, it's real simple. And he started giving me these protein recipes. And right in front of me, he mixes this big bowl of yogurt with chocolate protein powder and bananas and peanut butter. And he mixes it up. And he goes, oh, yeah, this morning I had cereal with protein milk. And he's like eating this like thing he created in front of me. And he's just such a great guy. I mean, everyone loves him. And so we wish him the best of luck and a speedy recovery.
Such a good dude. He should be like multiple-time world champ by now.
Well, he will be. Let's hope.
And the timing on this injury is unfortunate because I really thought Cesaro was someone they were going to turn to in the middle of, Cena being gone and Rollins being gone. I really thought this was going to finally be his moment.
Yeah.
If Owens gets injured, he's going to be like, that's it, no more indie guys.
Yeah, you never know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Speaking of surgery, Bret the Hitman Hart underwent wrist surgery this week, so we wish him the best of luck as well. Should be hopefully a speedy recovery for him. And also, last week we talked about Ring of Honor changing homes to Comet TV. Well, good news, everybody. TNA has found a home, and we're very, very glad about that. We want everyone to thrive. We want everyone to have jobs. We all have friends in TNA, and we're very happy to see that they signed on with Pop TV, which is formerly TV Guide Network. And the best part about this is, honestly, that has more reach than Destination America. It's in way more homes. It's on more cable providers, and I really hope it's a big success for them. And also, their first tapings are going to be in my hometown. They're going to be January 5th to 9th at Bethlehem Sands Casino. It's actually the same place I do my Christmas comedy show every year.
It's going to be airing on Tuesdays now, too, right?
I believe the first show is going to be Tuesday the 7th.
At midnight, I think.
Is it? Something like that. It's live, I think.
Oh, wow.
Supposed to be live.
Okay.
So everyone in Pennsylvania, go out and support this. I wish I would be home for it. But yeah, the Sands Casino in Bethlehem, 15 minutes from where I grew up. They did tapings there before. Speaking of which, December 23rd, 8 p.m., hit me up. If you're in Pennsylvania, come see my comedy show. But yeah, January 5th to 9th, they're doing 5 days of tapings. And they also have some talent heading to India this week, including our friend Eli Drake. So that's pretty cool.
Now, I want to hear the backstory on Destination America getting in and getting out of the wrestling business in such a quick turnaround. Like, what exactly were they expecting, and what exactly happened that they just wanted to wash their hands of the entire business so quickly?
That could be. I think your question or your answer
Like
lies in your
gratification.
question. Yeah, what
They just thought, oh, wrestling is going to get us tons of views and blah, 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 and make a bunch of money. And then they were like, wait, this doesn't happen overnight? Get out while you can.
I think it's simple. I think there's a reason we never heard of Destination America before this, and I think there's a reason why they are still Destination America when they gave up on pro wrestling like that.
But they had to know the number. I mean, if you're talking about money-wise, they had to know the numbers when you get another show. I mean, it's not like the ratings for TNA were ever so abundant that they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna have our eyeballs turn into dollar signs on this one. Like, it's just very confusing to me as to what exactly the expectation was. I'd love to hear from
Maybe
an
Dixie
exec
has a
on that
friend
side.
who has a friend.
I mean, look, Destination America, they're throwing spaghetti at the wall. They just aired a freaking live exorcism.
What?
Yeah, they did. They aired a live exorcism. It was rather uneventful, from what I understand.
Was the Doctor of Style
Nothing
slick
says
there?
America like exorcism.
Exactly. So yeah, I think this is a much better move for Pop TV. I know a lot of the TNA superstars are very excited about it. I know Eric Young said this past week that it's a breath of fresh air. It's a relief for everybody, and it is. I mean, we have so many good friends that are there. You know, it's Shane Helms, Ken Anderson, Chris Melendez, and everyone else that's there. I really hope it's a huge success, and everyone go out there and support them. Pack the Bethlehem Sands Casino, January 5th to 9th. If you're near Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, take a ride. It's going to be worth it. You know the shows are going to be great. The whole roster is going to be pumped up. And best of luck to everyone in India, too. I know they're going over in just a little bit. Speaking of TNA, or formerly TNA, this has all of us really excited.
Ooh.
The greatest man that ever lived just happened to be in Florida during the NXT tapings this past week, along with James Storm and Gunner. But most importantly for us, our friend Austin Aries was there.
I would have brought his action figure too. Could have
Right?
put it right by Lance
You
Hoyt.
should have.
I have like the awesome X Division one that has like his tattoo is the back of the box. It was like an exclusive through like Ringside Collectibles.
Nice work.
It was crazy.
It's exciting. We don't know what the deal is. Honestly, even if I knew, I couldn't say on this show. But I really don't know what was going on. But Dale, hey,
He was trending higher than Donald Trump that day, though. I know that much.
Yeah,
How did
he
I
was.
not hear about this?
He tweeted, he's like, I'm trending higher than Trump. Maybe I should run for president or something to that extent. I'm hoping for the best. I mean, like I said, we really don't know. We just know he was there, and if they're smart, you sign him in a heartbeat.
And you leave him as Austin Aries.
Of course you
don't-
do.
You don't try and change his name or
No.
give him anything else. You're
No.
like, no, you're Austin Aries. Come out with your cape.
Yeah, there are
Buy the rights to the Weezer song he comes out to on the Indies, The Greatest Man Who Ever Lived.
yeah.
And
There are very few people that make everyone look better in the ring. Austin Aries is one of those people. You know, people hear the saying, "Oh, you could have a great
broomstick.
match with a broomstick." He's one of those people.
yeah.
And
Ziggler.
Aries knows ring psychology. He knows how to be a heel. He knows how to be a great face. He makes everybody better in the ring. And if that's what NXT is about, getting better, it's a no-brainer. You sign him, and hell, throw him on the main roster, put him in NXT. Either way, he should be there. And I really, really hope that if that's what he wants and that's what they want, I hope they find a way to make it happen. So,
Definitely.
all right. Speaking of free agents, apparently AJ Styles, Dale, no longer under contract to New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, leaving him free to do whatever the hell he wants. What do you think?
Well, let's be honest. Since he left TNA, he's kind of been able to do whatever the hell he wanted in the first place. But
True.
I just was seeing on Ring of Honor's website. I mean, it looks like he's going to be doing some matches over there for them. You know, coming up in their big show in Vegas in February and some other things. So I am curious to see exactly where this leads. I mean, last year at the 13th anniversary, the Ring of Honor Samoa Joe popped up there and gave a little good promo, and then went directly to WWE.
Right.
So if that's AJ's path, I would be A-okay with that too.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is amazing. I don't know why TNA ever let him go. He was their Shawn Michaels.
I think that's another Dixie thing, to be honest.
So weird.
That didn't make any sense to me either. I mean, he was an OG. He was TNA in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, of course, a lot of people in NXT might be getting nervous when you have people like Aries showing up, AJ Styles. But here's the thing. Guys like that deserve it. They deserve the opportunity. If they want to sign there, I'm sorry, but if you're a football player that's been at NXT for 2 years, okay, these guys have been wrestling for 12 or 15. Yeah. So you can't get that upset. I understand it's frustrating, but at the same time,
Go ahead. Is that another Baron Corbin crack?
I wasn't necessarily pointing at... Yeah, okay, maybe I was. But anyway, I'm just saying there's certain people that deserve the opportunity if they have it, and that's people like Styles and Aries.
When I was filming this documentary, I overheard Kevin Steen telling a story to the Young Bucks about like showing up at NXT and Triple H being like, "Hey, everybody, see this guy? He's like the top guy. Like, y'all want to be where he's at." And Kevin was like, "Well, shit, just put a target on my back, why don't you?"
At first, I wonder if he was like, "Are you being sarcastic?
Like,
what are you doing?"
It was like legit, like everybody take notice. Like, these guys are gonna pass you up if you don't step up your game. Pretty much.
It's true though.
Yeah.
And look at what Owens has done.
It makes me wonder.
And
much
like Austin Aries, I think guys, that they bring in like Kevin Steen or Samoa Joe or hopefully AJ. They not only are there to, fill a good spot and entertain us, but they are there to make the other guys better as well. So, I mean, I think when you have those type of guys coming in, it makes the programming more interesting, but also makes those other guys more interesting as well.
No doubt about that. And speaking of Ring of Honor, we talked about last week, Comet TV is their new home. Their Chief Operating Officer, Joe Koff, said the initial footprint for the network is to be available in more homes also than Destination America. That network just started on October 31st. It's a sci-fi network, so it started on Halloween. So he said, hey, it's 2 weeks old, but it's going to be on Comet TV, and it should be in more homes than Destination America. So if you ask me, between TNA and Ring of Honor, it's a win-win for both of them, and for Destination America, good luck with them exorcisms. Let's hope there's a lot. We don't have to mention Destination America anymore on this show ever again. And
bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
And lastly in the news, there is a Heath Slater sighting on Raw.
The one-man band.
Yeah. And that is your Slamcast News. How about that one-man band, fellas?
Heath Slater. I always thought it'd be funny if they put him or like his face on Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins when he has like the whole thing, like the whole band set up on.
Oh yeah. Oh
like the
god.
one-man band. Like that would be hilarious. Or like, why did he never come out with like a giant like cymbals and all that?
Probably because someone needs to think of that. If he wants it, that would get him so over. Are you kidding me?
That would be hilarious.
I'm so on board with that.
It is nice. I mean, now that they have some gaping holes in who they were focused on. I mean, this Raw, say what you will, but I think it really did allow a lot of guys that we hadn't seen a lot from kind of get at least some good TV time. Now, whether it's a push in the right direction or, we'll see. But even, Neville getting a nice pat on the back from Mark Henry and Heath Slater getting his segment. I mean, I didn't love the way it turned out, but he certainly got a lot of TV time. And Swagger. I mean, there's just so many guys that we hadn't seen a lot from that now they have the time to focus on.
Now's the time. And how did you hear the collective sigh of discussion? Disgustion? What's the word I'm looking for? Not disgust. Disgust. Why was I thinking it was disgustion? What is wrong with my brain?
Because it's like they were discussing how disgusted they were.
Why did I just make up a word and think it was a word?
It's okay.
I had a little discussion earlier with Chuck, and,
About words?
About words.
Or about how I make up words and don't realize they're not words?
Exactly.
The word of discussion.
Stop it! Enough!
I know, I'm sorry, Biggie. I will stop. The look of disgust and the sigh of disgust when Heath Slater's doing his thing, and then you hear Ryback's music. Everyone's like, "No, let him stay," and then he just gets destroyed. Oh.
Unfortunately, the only thing I didn't like about it is he was kind of saying kind of similar to what the New Day had said in their segment earlier, so it feels like they maybe could have coordinated a little bit better on that. But either way, I was happy to have him back on our TV.
Absolutely, and I love your idea about him being the literal one-man band. That'd get him so over. I mean, he'd get his ass
and that was his entrance music.
Yeah.
It was just like horrible, like kazoo playing, and then just cymbals and just walk. Oh, awful!
It'd be great.
Hilarious.
I do enjoy how he smashed the guitar on Ryback, though.
Do you think when they both got in the ring, they're like, from Nexus to this? Gosh,
we're here.
Yeah,
we're doing this. So yeah, let's just get into a little. We already talked a bunch about Survivor Series. Obviously, everyone knows their feeling about Sheamus.
Who looks stupid now?
Roman Reigns is going to be chasing now. I would like to think Dean Ambrose as well, since he was also in the finals. I don't know. And another question. Let's get into Paige and Charlotte. Wow, the match on Raw was amazing compared to the Survivor Series match. Do you think, because the Survivor Series match didn't really tell the story that they were telling up into it, do you guys feel like there was so much drama with the Charlotte family angle? Do you feel like they told them to tone that down with their match on Sunday and then just allow them to just go at it on Monday?
I don't know. That if that was what they did, that was the stupid decision, because they should have stole the show both nights. But I think they're just really trying to get ratings on Raw and give divas a chance thing of like, look, we're giving them longer matches and like they're having good matches, and
Dale, what do you think?
Be involved.
I don't know. I was disappointed in the way that the pay-per-view match turned out, but then it turned around so much just 24 hours later. I agree with you. It wasn't telling the story. I mean, everything that they built up to, they should have had Charlotte come out and just pummel Paige from the get-go, but it started with like some holds and some different slower moves that were not really part of what was happening for these two people. And then Raw, it's like we had the match that we should have had. And I know sometimes, people don't like it when a pay-per-view match ends in like a no DQ, but even that for me on Raw was great. You want this to continue when the emotions are that high. And I don't know, I absolutely loved the Raw match.
It was phenomenal. And the double the count out or whatever, great. Loved it. It'll just keep going, but they really brought it. And maybe they saw the negative feedback from the match in Survivor Series. I don't know. Either way, I love what they did with it, and I'm glad that this feud is going to continue because Paige is turning into a fantastic heel. And
I love her promos too. I mean, she's been great in the ring for a while, but I feel like she's really turned a corner on the way that she's delivering everything backstage from the moment of that Renee segment, and they were kind of being catty with each other, and now just even on her own, I feel like Paige has absolutely stepped it up as the best diva on the microphone right now.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, granted, a couple didn't exactly, Sasha hasn't had a ton of chances yet to really talk.
Oh man, she's gonna kill it on the mic.
Oh, she will. And Charlotte's improving. I mean, I think she's getting a little bit of undue criticism. Her mic work has really gotten a lot better over the last 2 years, for sure. But her and Paige, amazing chemistry, and totally on board with that.
They'll be like the female Sean and Brett. That
Could be.
Go to town all the time, that you always know you'll get a great match out of them, and they could feud forever.
That's a damn good comparison.
Yeah.
I'll give you a round of applause for that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And our friend Jack Swagger, the aforementioned Jack Swagger, he stood up to
Makes America.
And I love it. Now, I understand we've kind of seen... Well, no, we haven't seen him and Zeb go at it before, so I think this is going to be interesting, and I really want Jack Swagger. Give him a shot. Why not? Let's see what happens.
It'd be funny if... I think Ricardo's in India right now doing his own thing, but if Swagger brought Ricardo Rodriguez back to be his guy, that would be great.
Dale, what you think about that?
That would be hilarious. It is weird, though. I mean, if you think about it in, like, actuality, not in, like, wrestling world terms, like, Jack Swagger was part of the racist team, but now he's like, I'll bleed red, white, and blue, basically. So it was very interesting to see him kind of play the other side, just because we the people, the phrase was over so big. Now he's being patriotic in a totally different way without really changing his gimmick. So it's interesting that it on Monday, it worked out great, I thought.
And the crowd really loved saying "We the People." They were so on board with that.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
Why
yeah,
wouldn't you? That's a great phrase. And a cool
All the
shirt.
haters out there.
yeah, a lot of haters though. A lot of haters.
And ADR is looking good. I mean, I feel like he was a little more into it on Monday than he was previously, but I still feel like they're still trying to figure out where this gimmick is going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I am too. I mean, I don't really know.
Is it just going to be the two of them, or are there going to be more Mex-Americans? Like,
that's a great question.
I was talking on the SmackDown show, and we were saying, like, because there were talks about, like, Carlito, WWE trying to bring back Carlito, and
that'd be
maybe, like,
great. Body guy Carlito.
repackaging, like, the Los Matadors, and I was like, oh, make them Mex-Americans, and their big argument was like, well, they're not Mexican, they're Puerto Rican, and it's like, Rusev pretended he was Russian.
Yeah.
Like, how many people really are what they are in wrestling?
I mean, just like Titus says, who ever heard of a Puerto Rican bullfighter anyway?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's another guy, like, if you see him on Total Divas and he's doing that, like it was an episode where, like, someone was on, like, low on their self-esteem and was like, well, what would you give yourself? And he's like, man, you a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, you always a 10. It's like, it should be like Titus's scale of 10, and he just comes out and rates people like, oh man, you a foe, you know, like,
That's
step up your game. You know,
I do like that. Step your game up.
You know, like something.
Check the game tape.
Like, yeah.
Now, according to the announcers yesterday, I mean, in some ways, I felt like they were painting Titus as a champ to be. I mean, it seems like that he's been getting a lot more attention lately, and he had a little backstage segment on Raw with Stardust. I really would love to see Titus get, you know, to be a main eventer.
Yeah, Stardust wasn't happy about it either. Damn it, he's hissing at us now. Didn't even mention. Speaking of which,
He's not
Goldust.
happy about much nowadays.
Yeah, Goldust is back. Okay, I'm sorry, he's getting pissed off at us now. Mention Goldust and Titus, he gets in a tizzy. Okay, all right. See, he knows he's all over the place, Dale.
Well, stop bringing it up, dummy.
What you bringing what up?
Titus and Stardust.
Will you stop? Bringing it up. He's getting mad. He's hissing in my ear. I mean, I'm happy Goldust is back. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
Goldust does look better than ever. I feel like I'm glad that he's back in the mix. And I never thought I would say this, but the Ascension fits. I'm not going to say I like them, but I will say that their gimmick fits with Stardust so well.
Yes, and Stardust is great enough to make them tolerable.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Tolerable is a good expression.
I think, right? I mean,
They're funny as, like, the Bebop and Rocksteady, like, goofy sidekicks.
yeah. I mean, look, how funny is it that Rocksteady's the friggin' champion? But yeah, man, we want to see the Ascension do well because we want to stay positive.
When life gives you booty, make booty aid.
Gotta make booty aid.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
Lessons learned.
You know, and we
What did you guys feel about that New Day segment on
That was
Raw?
hilarious.
I mean, how long do you want me to talk about it? Because
I love Big E's little hat that he had, his little cowboy hat. And they all had the unicorns. Oh, man. So
Kofi had a
great.
real unicorn.
Oh, yeah. His horn.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned the unicorns they rode to the ring. I don't know where they found those, but I found the identical. They have a different color. They had a pink one. I found a brown one on a truck stop on our way to Arizona with Whistle Sports, and I bought it, and I've actually used it in the videos.
Nice.
Like this past week in Boston, they gave me a Paul Revere hat, and I was going to ride on the fake horse and be like, college football is coming, college football is coming. We never filmed it, though, but I got the horse in the RV, so then maybe they found it at a truck stop.
Dude, I
Who
see
knows?
your videos. It looks like you do a lot of cool stuff with them.
I'm a goofball, man.
Oh, man.
Whatever
I saw
they
you,
want
like,
me to...
refereeing a basketball game in Times Square and just, like, being ridiculous.
Hey, man, I'm a worker. You tell me what to do. I'm doing it. Last week, I had a goalpost backpack on me.
Nice.
A freaking people were kicking shit at me. I'm like, okay, whatever you want me to do.
You must be used to that by now, though. Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been getting kicked for years, so I mean, it ain't nothing for me. You know what I mean? I was just with that goalpost backpack, like, yeah, and everyone was like, you, as a matter of fact. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. And we already mentioned earlier what a difference a year makes with Ziggler. I don't really want to. I want to stay positive. I mean, I'd like to see Ziggler rise up at some point again.
I mean, I liked that match. I thought, I think that Reed needed to win the match because he's been kind of up and down. So I think it's good to have him win at that pay-per-view. But ultimately, I think these two could end up as a tag team or something. I'm not sure what they have planned. But
True.
I thought it was an okay match. I just wish, like we've been wishing for years, that Ziggler was always doing bigger and better things. But c'est la vie.
Very much so. C'est la vie. Well, Dale, it's time to move on to another show that this past week was fantastic. What? Yeah. We're talking about NXT this past week. It was female powered. Yeah. What? Yeah. Ladies' night, baby. The whole hour. Pretty much the whole hour. What you think?
That was awesome. Did you ever think you would see 3 matches and like two backstage promos? All from the Divas?
And it all ended with Eva Marie talking.
I wasn't going to bring that part up, but yes.
Sorry.
It did end with that.
Yeah.
That crowd, though, I had me in tears. They would not let her talk. It was like a solid 3 minutes, which in TV time is an eternity, of just straight booze.
Yeah. She called everyone dorks. Stuff.
That's a Matt Jackson thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she wasn't drunk. She got so much booze.
A lot of booze.
That's that.
I will say this, though. Some of that NXT crowd is starting to get too fratty. Okay, let's cool it with the 2 Live Crew chants for Bailey. You shouldn't be doing that. The Hey, We Want Some Bailey, that's from a 2 Live Crew song.
Oh.
And it's called
I
Hey.
thought that was funny, though.
It's not when you know the song. It's a freaking filthy song. You shouldn't be singing it about Bailey. Like when you do it
Stop
for
being so old, Johnny.
Well, no, it's New Day's fault because they started off with "Hey, we want some New Day." Now it's become Bailey. It's like, let's cool it, dudes. Be respectful for
Hey,
God's sake.
they're energized, so I am happy for any crowd that is into it. They can do whatever they want. Just don't be quiet.
What do you think of Bailey and Alexa Bliss? I thought it was solid. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get Bailey Sasha, but it was still pretty good. I love Alexa as a heel. Never thought she'd pull it off, and she's been crushing it.
Yeah, I think character-wise, she's really doing a great job. I agree with you. It's not Bailey Sasha, but her wrestling game has improved. We've seen a big improvement from her that I think it's warranted to put her in that title match. Now, I don't know, is it this week or how soon is the Eva Marie title situation?
It's this week. I mean, a lot of people listening to this may have already seen it. Yeah. Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah, now that I don't know if I would say is warranted, but I think Alexa Bliss is really on the up and up, and I love watching her.
And I love one thing she did say. She said, I may be small, but I'm fierce. And she's absolutely right. She is tiny, but she's very effective in the ring. She's a great character. And honestly, like, she's the reason Blake and Murphy, in my opinion, even remotely got over. They don't really have, a gimmick, really.
They're like
no, even
Billy and
them.
Chuck.
She did her backstage promo, and even the two of them behind her was kind of cheese McGee's. So I don't know. They wouldn't, in my opinion at least, they wouldn't be much of anything without her.
Right, but I'm glad they teamed up because it got her over as a heel, and now she's shown everything that she's capable of, and now she can kind of just do whatever she wants. And it's been really fun. Nia Jax defeats Carmella, but what I noticed about this match is how well Carmella worked. Because Nia Jax, to me, I'm not going to pass judgment until she has to sell, until someone actually starts to beat her up a little bit. I don't know how good she is. Because any person who's stronger than everyone else on the roster can throw people around. That's great. But until she has to sell, I don't think we'll know how good she is.
I think she's going to be Eva Marie's muscle.
Oh, gosh.
I think she's going to help Eva win the title, and she's going to be Eva's muscle.
Whoa. What do you mean Eva win the title?
Doesn't Eva have a title shot against
She does.
Bayley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, don't dare. Don't.
Yeah,
Dale, stop
that's
him.
what's going to happen,
Dale,
man.
stop him.
Stop it! Enough!
You're there in person. What am I going to do?
I don't know. Yell.
Quit thinking.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. I don't know how to feel about her. I mean, she's doing okay as far as I can tell. I don't have any real emotions towards her. She doesn't have a character really so far either, in my opinion. Not too much of one. So
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm always excited to see what they do with the strong girl, quote unquote, kind of gimmick thing.
Big time. But I really do enjoy it. I loved how Carmella worked with her, and I think Carmella is underrated. You know what? I don't think she has to do the Enzo and Cass thing. It just doesn't sound right. I think she's drop dead gorgeous. She's decent in the ring. She can break off on her own character. She doesn't have to do the whole hottest chick in the ring gimmick. It doesn't. Enzo and Cass are so good at it. Her doing it, it's almost like meh, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like, well, this week in particular, it seemed like maybe she wasn't feeling that. I've seen her do it better, where she was more hyped, but usually it's when the guys are there. So I don't know if maybe she draws on their energy or what, but I agree with you. But I think for now, it helps you kind of attach to her because they are so over.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. So we'll see where she goes from here. And then, of course, Emma pulling off the victory. And then Dana Brooke challenges Asuka next week. They have something planned. Hey, anytime you give me a match with Asuka, I'm watching.
If anyone makes Nia Jax sell, it's going to be Asuka.
Yeah, right.
Like, because I wasn't a big fan of Dana Brooke at first, and then her match with Asuka, I was like, this chick took a beating and a half. I love her.
I said the same thing. I gave Dana Brooke a lot of credit.
Oh man, she took a beating. Talk about like when you hear old wrestlers say like, oh, I just went out and like taught this rookie what's up and showed him like this is wrestling. You know, this isn't sports entertainment. This is wrestling. Like that was that match.
That's exactly what that was, and so I'm looking forward to it. Now, Dale, I mean, let's say a heel ends up taking the title. I don't want to even say Eva Marie. Let's say a heel.
Don't say that. Don't even say that.
You don't say that.
I'm not. You dare. You better not. No one makes me bleed my own blood. Let's say a heel does take the title. I think that would leave the door open for Asuka to really just storm towards the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Alexa Bliss maybe with that position, or I mean, really anyone but Eva Marie at this particular moment.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that would be awesome. Her time is coming. I'm not really worried about it because she's like a dynamite stick with a long fuse on it right now. But you know she's gonna blow eventually. So I ain't too worried.
Very much so. And and look. Here's the thing. I know they realize if they put the title in Eva Marie, it would create a massive amount of heat. Here's the thing, though. She can't back it up in the ring. She's not ready. So if you put the title on her, like, I know heat's a thing, but you gotta be able to go. And she can't. So I don't know.
She'd be the weasel that just keeps sneaking out of the ring and stands behind Nia Jax. And
I mean, crazier things have happened. Maybe she will win the title, but ooh, boy.
You guys have cursed it. That's the only one. I think I have to hang up here in a minute. I do think that yes, you're right. Yeah, Heat is great, and obviously she has the most of anyone down there, I guess. But it's that like you irritate me kind of heat. I don't know that it's like a good kind of heat per se. But when you can't follow up Sasha and Bayley too with Eva Marie and insert anyone else's name.
Nope.
No.
Good point.
You just can't. So I don't know. I really hope that's not the way it's going. It'll make me so mad.
Yeah, mad. It made me so mad. So anyways, we'll move on from there. Right before we get to the great interview with Lance Hoyt. Impact Wrestling World Title Series is now down to the final 16. Eli Drake moving on. Eli Drake, our good friend, who was actually at Championship Wrestling this past weekend. He made his return to us, which is really cool because our Percy Pringle III annual cup is coming up in about a month, and so he's never won the urn, and so he wants to win that thing. So he came back.
Does he get to still be Eli Drake? Or
he is.
He doesn't have to change it back to Shawn Ricker.
He is Eli Drake, and he's back to us, which is cool. But he's also in the final 16. Bobby Roode moved on to the final 16, defeating Abyss. Really good match there. Awesome Kong and Gail Kim both move on. Eric Young eliminated James Storm, which. Obviously, James Storm we don't know what he's doing. Maybe WWE, who knows? And Mahabali Shera sweeps his group and moves on, and I'm guessing he's going to win every match in India. Just a guess.
Yeah.
So they've only got 27 more rounds to go till somebody's found a winner, right?
This is where we need Scott Narver. He so adequately explains the World Title Series every single week, and he just knows the numbers. But I think... Yeah, I think we got 27 weeks left, but I'm not quite sure.
Sweet. I can't wait for the finale.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we have not talked. Well, we mentioned our 2 weeks from now, our 100th episode, Money for Sunday. There we go. All right. Perfect.
There it is. Hey, I don't know if you caught Ring of Honor this week, but it was just chock full of Nigel McGuinness. So if you get a chance, go back and watch it. He's on commentary. He's in the ring doing some interviews. It's basically the Nigel McGuinness show.
As it should be. I got to see him this past weekend. He was also at CWFH, and we hung out a little bit afterwards. And he's doing well. He's in great shape, and he's staying busy. He just got back from Ring of Honor this past weekend, actually. So hopefully maybe we can get him to call in for the 100th episode. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so the World Title Series moves along. We'll see what happens in the next coming weeks. But with that said, I'm excited to have this interview with Lance Hoyt. So, you know, he created this amazing, like, 9-minute kind of a documentary, if you will, called Bump. Watch it on YouTube. Just search Lance Hoyt Bump.
I'll have to check that out.
It's really great. Follow him on Twitter at Lance Hoyt, former 2-time IWGP Tag Team Champion. Literally wrestled all over the world. TNA, WWE, now New Japan. And he's such a great guy, super eloquent. And Dale, you got to interview him, so go right ahead.
Yeah, he's just a well-spoken dude, and he's been in the business for a long time now, and he's just still so humble and always trying to evolve. And take a listen and just kind of absorb as much as you can from a guy who really knows his business inside and out.
Absolutely. And so with that said, everyone enjoy Chuck and Dale with the Lance Hoyt.
Lance, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, yes.
Starting off with a zinger. I like it.
All right, guys. So we are really lucky. Today we have a returning guest to the show. He is, in my opinion, one of the best free agent big men in the business today. He is one half of the Killer Elite Squad. You can find him all over Japan. You can find him on Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore. That is, of course, Lance Hoyt, better known to many as the American Psycho. How are you, Lance?
I'm good, man. I was about to give you some grief if you forgot that part.
Which part? Which part?
The American Psycho, of course.
How
could I forget that?
How did the American Psycho start, since you're bringing it up? How did that moniker come about?
The funny story about that whole American Psycho thing was Matt Stryker called me that on ECW back in the day, and then was quickly told not to call me that anymore. And it was kind of one of those, just, in my opinion, control factors, and it wasn't something that a creative team came up with. He just kind of said it out of nowhere. It kind of fit and stuck, and then it was like, nope, you can't say that. And it's like, okay. So when I went into Japan, they wanted a different name. I pitched just using my real name, Lance Hoyt, and they wanted something different. I pitched a couple different names, and then we decided on the Lance Archer, which is a combination, obviously, of my real name and then the Archer, which I was using before, so kind of associated with where I'd been. And then I really wanted to use the American Psycho, which, New Japan loved that idea. So that's kind of where it really got its birth, was going into there. But it was, like I said, initially mentioned by old Matt Stryker on ECW back in the day when he was still around.
Awesome. Do you give him residuals from all the T-shirts you're selling?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You get to check every 300 years, something like that.
Awesome. So listen, man, last time you checked in with us on the show, you were actually calling us from Japan. And I know right now you're in Texas, getting ready to enjoy Thanksgiving with the family. But I also know that you're headed back to Japan. So catch us up to speed, man. What's been going on over there?
Well, like you said, I've been working steady in Japan since 2011, mostly with New Japan when I started. Last year, our larger group, which is Suzuki Gun, headed by Minoru Suzuki, we invaded Pro Wrestling Noah last January, and we've more or less dominated since we've been there. And that's exactly what we're still doing today, and that's where I'll be headed when I head back in December. We actually have a really big show. It's kind of our end-of-the-year show on December 23rd in Japan. It's called Destiny. We have a GHC tag team title match, which will end no different than any other GHC tag title match that we've had before. Us versus Big in USA, Chris Hero, and Colt Cabana, which we've actually already beat them in a title match before. There's been a few teams that have gotten lucky enough to beat Killer Elite Squad, but they've all been in non-title situations. But every time that we've stepped up in a defend our titles scenario, we've always defended them. We've always killed it, and we've always gone out continuing to be the GHC heavyweight tag team champions.
All right. I like it. I mean, that's been a dominant title reign, and I think this is one of those times where oftentimes world tag team champions is thrown around, but people aren't defending all over the world. You and Davey, you're doing it on every continent.
Yeah, when we can, I mean, he lives in Canada. I'm down here in Texas. It's a little bit of a difference as far as where we are on this side of the globe, but we have worked together and defended. We were almost a year's worth reigning NWA tag team champions while we were the GHC champions at the same time. So we've dominated the tag scene pretty much since we've debuted as a team back in 2012. I think that's when we debuted as a team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, now, Lance, I want to back it up a little bit and talk about something else that happened not in the too distant past, but it's been a big part of your year. You were filming that documentary Bump.
Yep.
And, first, for people that don't know about it, this is an amazing short documentary that focuses on you and your career and how you got to where you are now. But how did that come to be?
It kind of came out of nowhere for me anyway. A guy named Carlos had hit up. There's a guy in Dallas, Texas that has a autograph store and things like that. And I'd had conversations with the guy about coming out and doing something at different times. Carlos had hit them up about wanting to do this. They actually referenced me to him, and he basically had my sent me an email, said what he was kind of looking to do. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great opportunity, and we basically scheduled out a time when I was coming back from Japan, and I'd have some time. We were going to do 3 days of filming, in the facility that MPX, which is in Bedford, Texas, Metroplex Wrestling, runs their shows out of at the Metroflex Gym in Bedford, Texas. And then he traveled along with me on one of the shows that I did down in San Antonio for Branded Outlaw Wrestling, and did a lot of filming as far as a match I had with Mike Dell that night. And then he pieced it together beautifully. I had no true idea of what to expect and what he was going to do with it. We talked about the things that I was okay with him putting out there and what I didn't want him to put out there. I'm real big on not exposing the business and keeping everything positive about the business, and that's exactly what he wanted to do as well. And so, when he came out and sent me the video, I was blown away.
And how did you allow Andy Dalton in that documentary?
because if you saw what I did to Andy Dalton, it was very positive for me.
Listen, jokes aside, Andy's a great dude.
No, he's awesome, man.
Don't know Andy. Andy's another guy that's come up through the Texas scene. He's a third-generation wrestler, second-generation?
I think he's second generation. I don't know if it's third or not, but he's definitely one of the diamonds in the rough as far as Texas wrestling is concerned. He's done everything in the last year and a half, 2 years to get himself. He's always had the talent. He's always had the charisma, and people would always say, man, just work on yourself. And he did, and he's changed himself in every positive way he could. And I think everybody that's ever seen him work has been impressed with him. So he's a great dude. He's a great kid. And I love chopping the crap out of him.
And I've known Andy for many years, and I got to tell him, hopefully he'll get a chance to hear this. He looks great these days. He's really put the work in the gym clearly, too. Yep. And I know I've seen him do some stuff with Ring of Honor in the past year. It's just been really cool to see him kind of finally really finding his niche.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd like to think that you have some part in that, because I know you've worked with him for a long time and helped, teach him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's a sponge, man. He's one of those kids who's done everything positive for himself. There's a lot of guys in the wrestling business, obviously before me right now, and that are going into the future of this business, and they say they want to be a part of it in a major way. They say they want to do big things, and then they just don't do the things that are necessary. And there's not one linear path for any set person. Everybody's got a different path. Everybody's got a different everybody's got a different way of presenting themselves. That's what makes pro wrestling so great, because it's character driven. Everybody's not supposed to be the same, but working hard is part of it. And he's done everything that he's supposed to in a positive manner to set himself up for success. He just needs somebody somewhere to give him that right break. Whether it's Ring of Honor, TNA, Japan, WWE, whoever, and he would just absolutely take off, and then that's what this business is about, is time and opportunity, and he's taking the time. He just needs the opportunity.
That's what I love.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about Bump entirely, is it talks about the necessary sacrifices, and a lot of them have really paid off for you. But have there been moments in your career that you almost kind of wondered if this was your path, or if you needed to walk away?
Not necessarily walk away, man, but I've definitely had, as far as Bump is concerned, that word bump, obviously it's kind of an inside term, but I've experienced so many bumps in my road, in my path, there's been a lot of question marks as to, was it going to continue? It wasn't necessarily whether I wanted it to continue, whether I wanted it to continue or not, or whether I should, step away or do anything like that. It was just always what do I have to do next? What has slowed me down? What can I do to improve that situation? What can I do to move forward, whatever path that is? I was very lucky, and I don't take anything away from the idea that people saw me as a bigger, taller guy and whatnot, and gave me those opportunities kind of because of that. But I'd like to believe that I've always worked hard and shown enough talent that I was able to stick around in places. I got lucky in an opportunity when TNA was just, really a baby. Went down and did a tryout match with one of their guys that was running their backstage stuff. Barely had any time to talk with the gentleman, and then we had the match, and it went off great. And he was the one that really pushed when they needed somebody to fill a spot for me to be in that spot, and I did. And then I went out there and did a good job and got my job that night at TNA. I was there for 5 years, and then unfortunately that time ended. I started doing some stuff in Japan. But then I had enough people in a positive way that were willing to back me up and, give me an opportunity with WWE. Like I said, initially everything was really good. Going into FCW, some people said, why would you go there? You didn't need to be there. And I disagree with that, because WWE is its own entity in such a unique way that you have to learn what they want. And FCW for me was a great learning opportunity to get over that last bump, that last, setback, that last fall away. And everything that's gone on from that, from WWE back into Japan and everything that's happened in Japan. It's just literally going, something bad happened. How do I get over that? How do I improve from that? How do I move forward from that? That's always kind of how I've looked at my career.
Absolutely. Well, Lance, one of the things I think we have to talk about, and you and I were discussing this, I want to say it was last week, after Bump came out, Mick Foley really endorsed that documentary. He said, if you haven't seen this, you got to check it out. You have to see what Lance Hoyt is up to.
Right.
And, one of the things that we talked about was a lot of people have this image ingrained in their mind of who you are and who your character is. And a lot of it, unfortunately, is based on maybe a less than, stellar WWE run, how you wanted it to go.
Right.
So what do you say to that? Like what do you want people to know about you now?
Well, for me, and part of that discussion that you and I had when we did that was the fact that it's actually been kind of a motivating factor. It's been one of those things where each and every time, going to this not last weekend, but the weekend before, when I was doing the House of Hardcore shows with Tommy Dreamer, who's always been an extremely high supporter of mine, for whatever reason, and I really appreciate everything he's done for me, both from WWE, on the independents, his shows and everything. He's obviously extremely well respected, so to be a part of his shows anytime I'm available, it's been a true honor. And then every time that I've stepped out there, for me, it's been a chance to try to kind of reprove myself, to make everybody go, man, is that the same guy? Is that the guy, whether it was WWE as they see as a kind of a failed situation, or whether they see as my TNA run as a bunch of different failed or not so successful, incarnations of who I was, from the original Dallas to being Lance Hoyt with the Hoytomania stuff, to the Lance Rock with Rock and Rave Infection, which I had a lot of fun with, which was complete different gimmick. But, some people, and Mick Foley said it, I think, best as to kind of how I've been perceived on the American scene anyway, is, that they know who I am, but all they think of are kind of the past bad gimmicks. And I think those were the words he used, is that's what he knew me as and saw me as. And I've had many conversations, not many, but enough conversations, and he's always said extremely positive things. And then guys like Dreamer, who put me over to him, as doing well in what I'm doing in Japan, and him knowing what I was already doing in Japan. And, even him knowing that, it's almost like one of those scenarios where people know that I've been in Japan and I've been doing well, but because the Japanese market is just now really starting to infiltrate the United States with the guys that are working at Ring of Honor and Access TV on Friday nights, and with people seeing the pay-per-view in the New Japan world that's starting to infiltrate the American market. Before, when I was there, it was really just if you searched it out on YouTube or if I plugged something on one of my social medias, that's when people would see it. Otherwise, they didn't really know what was going on. And he and other people have always kind of known that I was there and doing it, but they still just think of the Lance Rocks. They just think of the Vance Archers that just never really got off the ground and exploded into what it could have and should have been. So they think of my past more than they think of my present and what I could possibly be doing for the future. And then when they see something like Bump that she did, which was really cool that, somebody said, hey, check it out. He did. And then he, promoted it himself. And for him to say that he sees me in a new light and sees the passion that I've had in my whole career to go from one gimmick to the next gimmick, from one company to the next company, and to just continually prove to people that I am something worth paying attention to in this business. I don't want to sound egotistical, but I know what I can do, and I know what I'm doing now. It's very beneficial to the business and to the future with the guys who are coming up behind me, who are going to be the true future of this business and the knowledge that I've gained from that. So, for me, like I said, it's just always been a motivating factor to go out and prove people wrong as to what they thought I was, and to make them go, man, I can't believe this is the same guy.
Right. And guys, don't forget, this is a guy who, correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, was in college as an English major, correct?
Yes, I have a BA in English from Texas State University.
So a completely different career path, and you've always been able to reinvent yourself, even from that early start.
Trying to, anyway. I wanted to avoid being a real person, so, this has been my avenue.
So, along reinventing yourself, how has Noah compared to New Japan? Are there any major differences between?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's another building block. Noah, when it, debuted, 15 years ago, because this is their 15th year anniversary going through, it was one of those things that was new, it was big. They ran, Tokyo Dome shows, and in the essence of it, sold them out, to whatever degree. And obviously got to a pinnacle, and at one point, when New Japan's business was extremely down, say 10 years ago, Noah was the company to watch. Noah was the company to be at. Noah was the big dog in Japanese wrestling. And unfortunately, times and money and the fan base have really dropped off. And, New Japan's exploded into what it's become. So going from working in New Japan and the shows and the size and the capacity and the crowds into Noah, which unfortunately has and had dropped off so significantly much, it was kind of a busted ego to a degree, but at the same time it was, okay, here's another opportunity. Here's another opportunity for me and the group and the guys that are all involved to go in. And if we can help that company and help the people pay attention to Noah again and help it grow, even as slowly as it's going to take to do that, like I said, it was one of those, another opportunity for me to prove and for us to prove people wrong, and for people who are going, man, Noah doesn't exist, Noah's dead. Man, I remember Noah for what it was. It's a chance for all of us to prove them that Noah's something they should be watching now, and it'll become something big and better in the future. And if we can help that process, then for us, it's kind of a cool thing.
So is there maybe a little bit of a rivalry between the two companies growing now, or?
No, not right now. I think Noah's, it's really just trying to refine itself. It itself is trying to reinvent itself. Again, the company had dropped off as far as it did. It's had a lot of tragedies from Masala passing away. It's lost some of their major stars, Kenta, who's obviously in WWE right now. It's had a lot of blows that have set it back. And, we were just trying to help Noah with what Suzuki-gun has kind of established itself through New Japan and the stars that are in it. The American stars, myself, Smith, Shelton Benjamin, and then, obviously Minoru Suzuki, who he is, Taka Michinoku, who's been in the business forever, and, WWF and obviously Japan and all the things, we're trying to help through what we've established to help Noah reestablish itself and, again, try to reinvent itself. And, that's a hard thing to do, is for companies to go from one method of operation into another method of operation and understand it and accept it and grow from it. It's hard to go, well, everything we've done in the past, worked, but now it doesn't work. So we've got to rethink of what we're doing and try to change our mental process, regardless of whether it's wrestling or anything. So, there's no rivalry right now, but I guarantee you, especially if the company continues to grow in one of those things, you never know what's going to happen in the future. But right now, like I said, Noah's just trying to find itself.
Right. Now, Lance, I started off when we started this conversation, I said you're one of the best big men on the market who's a free agent.
Thanks.
And I stand by that statement. You tower over most people in the ring.
Yep.
And even as a big man, you have one of the greatest moonsaults I've ever seen. But there's something that I want you to kind of talk with us about today, because I was really floored and really, found it interesting talking with you last week when we had lunch about what it takes to be a big man in today's industry, because it's changed a lot. And you gave a lot of insight into kind of what you see as the positives and the negatives about the big men of wrestling right now.
Right.
And I want to know, man, what does it take to be a big man in this industry where there's lots of young guys who are smaller in size, smaller in stature, and doing things just in a totally different style?
Yeah, man. To me, and it's one of those things that some people would probably argue with me and fight with me on about, the business, professional wrestling has kind of always been seen as a big man's business. Vince McMahon loves the big guys, and, you think of the giants through the history of professional wrestling, and it's changed a lot. The quicker, and I hesitate to say smaller, but compared to me and most traditional big guys, they are smaller, but smaller, faster, more athletic, more acrobatic, are doing a lot more moves and combinations of moves and fighting styles that are, combining both athletics and acrobatics and things that, you don't traditionally see. And that's kind of become our industry today. And the one thing that I think is kind of lost in wrestling as far as the big man is concerned is being a big man. It's being a big guy and being okay with not doing or trying to keep up with the guys who do all the cool, crazy spots. Yes, I think there has to be an implementation from the bigger guys. Like you said, you mentioned my moonsault. I do the moonsault here and there once in a while. I try to throw in athletic things, the rope walks, the moonsaults, and the top rope planches and things of that nature. But I use it very sparingly because I want it to be a special moment when somebody of my size does something like that. And unfortunately, this day and age, you see some big guys who can do all these things, and they absolutely should in the right scenarios, are doing them way too often in the essence of trying to keep up with a different style of wrestling, which is usually the smaller, quicker, more acrobatic guys. Big men need to be big guys. And, if you're getting hit by a guy who's half your size roughly, then you shouldn't be the guy going down so easily. And unfortunately, I see guys who, as far as getting on the inside of the business, they just want to go with the flow. They don't want to say no. They don't want to be perceived as, I'm not going to do that, guys. And the thing is you're losing some of that art form of being a big man in the business. And that helps separate me being 6'6", 6'8" in the ring when I'm standing next to a guy who's 6 foot or under. If they're doing their thing and they're getting the crowd wild by the things that they're able to do and how fast they are and the acrobatic and athletic moves that they can do, and then I can stop them and slow things down and be a brute and a force to be reckoned with, and somebody who you really are just angry at if I'm a heel, or somebody that you love when I just am a powerhouse as a babyface. If I can separate myself as a big man, then there is a good separation. There is a good difference between me and the other guys that are wrestling, whether it's matches before me, matches after me, or the match that I'm in with the guys that I'm working with. It's finding that art form that is being a big man. And I hope I'm not stumbling on my words here. And I'm just trying to say that I think the art form of being a big man and being able to separate yourself visually and ability-wise in the ring from the people who you work with and are working in front of, it's kind of lost to some degree, again, because I go back to the fact that guys they want to work. They want to go with the flow. They don't want to be perceived as prima donnas or egotistical or difficult to work with or whatever the case may be. And I think it's not a point of being difficult. The one thing that I try to do when I step in the ring as a big man is when guys have move sets or they have moves that they do, and if it's requiring them to physically outpower me, either A, I don't allow it to happen because it just doesn't make sense, or B, I try to find a way for it to make sense at the right moment, and or try to find new avenues for them to still get that move in that doesn't require them to negate my size and difference between them and me.
Right.
And I think that's another part of the art form that's lost. Guys are like, okay, yeah, just shoot me off and toss me in the air. And it's like, wait a second, the guy's half your size. If they can do that to you, then why does that make you different? Why does that make you special? What makes them special is their ability to do things that just wow the crowd and make people go, holy mackerel, I couldn't believe that just happened. Whereas when I step in there, I want to be able to have that person dip and dive and duck and dodge and jump and fly over me and do those things. And when I finally grab a hold of them, people know things have changed. It's a difference of styles. It's a difference of attack. It's a difference of everything between myself and the next guy that's in there with me who might be doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing. And then once in a while, like I said, throw the moonsault in there, throw a top rope dive off in there, let the guy finally do something that's powerful to me, but where it's not just me having it happen to me. I don't know how else to explain that.
I think the match you were telling me about, and if people have a chance to watch it, I know it'll be coming out soon, was the one that you had recently on House of Hardcore with Brian Myers, formerly Kurt Hawkins.
Right.
From what I've heard from several people that were there for that match, this is a perfect example of little guy versus a big guy, and it playing out the way it's supposed to.
And Brian's not small by any means. That's the crazy part, is that he's not small, but when we step in the ring and we're standing toe-to-toe with me, it does create that separation in size and whatnot. And if I just were to go in there and he was just to go in there and do the exact same things he normally does with guys who are the same size or smaller than he is, then what difference is it between any match that he's had before that? And if I go in there and I allow these things to happen, then I just become the next guy that was in there. But if we create a moment, a separation in physical size and ability and what the guy is doing, and I can create that dominating figure, and if whether he wins or he loses, it makes it look like a fight that makes sense and people understand it, they buy into it, they enjoy it, and regardless of whatever the outcome is, they see it and they can understand it, and it's a simple formula. But I think sometimes guys get too complicated and convoluted with what they're trying to do with the moves and stuff that they forget the story and the idea of creating that separation, that character separation, that personality separation, that person separation,
And who are some other guys that you feel like that are of your stature that are kind of doing it right in the business right now?
That are doing it right? Oh man, it's one of those. That's a tricky question because I don't want to step on anybody's toes or say anything about anybody because there's so many guys that I think are amazing. Guys right now that obviously there's difference of styles, but Davey Boy Smith, my partner, is obviously a huge. He's 6'5", 265, 275 pounds of just muscle and pure young bruteness. Gallows, who's working in New Japan with Gallows and Guns and the Bullet Club and all that stuff. There's another big man that I think is doing it right.
Oh yeah.
If you want to go into WWE, you've got Luke Harper, which I don't know the guy at all. I've met him a couple times and things like that, but I'm a fan of what he does and how he does things. Cesaro, again, a dude I've only met the few times that I've been around or backstage with WWE, and nothing but cool. There's a lot of the guys that I've been working with recently that knew him from his Ring of Honor days and things like that. And I can't speak highly enough about the guy and what he's able to do. But again, when I watch guys, I see the things they do, and they're amazing in what they do, and there's still differences in what they do and what I would do, or how I would allow things to happen now in comparison to what maybe they're allowing things to do, And so when you ask me who are guys that are doing right, those are some of the guys that I think are amazing, and I love what they do, and I love watching. Granted, when I watch them, there are certain things at certain times that I go, man, I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. Not now. Back in the day, I might have just kind of gone with the flow and said, okay, that's cool, whatever. But now I'd say, no, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to do that.
Right. Dale, match... Oh, go ahead, Lance.
No, I was just saying maybe that makes me sound difficult, and there's some guys that probably don't agree with me. But, I think I always try to find ways for guys to get over, be over, without it negating who I am and what I've become.
Right. Dale, you know what match I want to see one day?
What's that?
I want to see Lance Hoyt, the American Psycho, versus Luke Harper.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and book it. Let's make some calls.
Hell yeah, we need to make that happen. WrestleMania coming up in Texas.
Somebody get Triple H on the phone.
Well, listen, Lance, man, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Most
it's
definitely.
always a pleasure to have you on the show. You're welcome on anytime. Before we let you go, tell us where we can find you on social media. Tell us where we can check you out if we're going to be in Japan, some of us who might be over there, where they can catch you, and of course where in the States.
Yeah, man. Lance Hoyt, at Lance Hoyt on Twitter is my Twitter. Lance Hoyt on Facebook. It's an open public Facebook. Is there for anybody to check out. Hit me up, message me on LHoyt77 on Instagram is my Instagram. I have a Vine. I don't really use it. I should start using it more. This weekend I'll actually be in Louisiana for NWA Elite Championship Wrestling, the Saturday and Sunday, the 28th and 29th. Dulac, Louisiana, and Saint Amant, Louisiana this weekend. And then the weekend after that, the 12th of December, I'll be doing Branded Outlaw Wrestling in Buda. And then, I go back to Japan for our big show on the 23rd. We have a few shows before that, but the big show's on the 23rd for Pro Wrestling Noah. And that'll be pretty much finishing out my 2015, which has been an amazing, fun run.
Right, awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, when they're picking up their sweet Wrestling Buds T-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, they could probably grab an American Psycho shirt while they're there too, right?
They can grab an American Psycho. They can grab a KES T-shirt. Definitely hit them up, hit me up, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Dale, you got anything else for our guy?
Nope. Thanks so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. And I didn't get to thank you in person, but thanks for helping me out with the New Japan tickets. Trying to figure that website out was pretty tough. So I really appreciate all your help with getting me over there for Invasion Attacks.
Actually, I think after that whole situation kind of went down, they kind of realized that they need to broaden their horizons in how they do business. It's 2015. And it was one of those situations where they were telling me, we don't do online orders. And it's like, how do you not do online orders in 2015, especially if you're trying to broaden your international market?
Yeah.
I promise. No, seriously, after that situation, it's like they tried to create, I think they have created some kind of...
Yeah, you were the catalyst.
Yeah, you were the catalyst because they realized they had a lot of people trying to come to that show that you went to, and then, obviously future shows, especially going into the Dome this year, they want their international fans to be more easy for them to purchase tickets and come to the events live in Japan.
All right. Well,
awesome.
Good. You helping me help them. I love it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I truly appreciate you guys having me on.
Man, he's awesome.
Crazy. It's so cool. I have to go home and watch his documentary Bump.
It's really cool. And
I can't wait.
What he manages to do in less than 10 minutes is incredible. I mean, anyone, whether you know anything about wrestling, you can watch it and be like, okay, there's someone who's passionate about their path, who is willing to sacrifice whatever they had to do to get where they are, and he's earned every amount of success he's had.
And those are great because they're short and they're good to show people who aren't typically wrestling fans,
right?
To show them that, like, there's more than just guys wrestling in their underwear.
Yeah,
And
what a great interview. Kudos to Chuck and Dale for that,
and
Lance Hoyt, just an incredible athlete, incredible wrestler, incredible person. And those are the kind of people we really want to get behind. And who knew that Dale is changing the ticketing process in Japan?
Yeah.
Who knew?
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was hard to figure out anything. You cannot buy, this was only a few months ago when I went to Invasion Attacks. You literally could not buy anything using a credit card.
What? Wow.
No Ticketmaster, that's for damn sure.
I mean, the fun dad in me kind of admires that, in a way. You know?
I guess. If being inconvenienced is cool for dads.
Yeah, well, dads like cash.
That's true. Here's $5. Now stop bothering me.
That's right. Well, what a show this has been. But first, before we go, tell us more about how you got to do this entire documentary for Young Bucks. It's 2 DVDs.
Yeah.
It's the regular DVD, and then it's got a whole bunch of extras. How did this whole thing come about?
So basically, a couple years back, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and North Carolina, and I was filming a pilot that was hopefully going to get picked up to be like a wrestling reality TV show.
Cool.
And along that way, I met Matt Hardy, and like the first thing I did to Matt Hardy was like, let me get my mark out moment out of the way. And I was just like, always been a huge Hardy fan. You don't get as much respect as you do for like your mind of wrestling and like all the Omega stuff. And, you know, I'm just a huge fan of yours. My dream match would be you guys versus the Young Bucks. And he's like, oh yeah, there's talks about doing that at WrestleMania weekend or something, maybe. Like, it'd be cool. And then when it, like years later, like that pilot didn't get picked up, but like I had met Matt and we had like, I have his phone number. So like kind of kept in touch, I guess you could say. So when the match got announced that it was going to happen, the first thing I did, because I like know Nick and Matt and I've known them for years.
Obviously, PWG.
Yeah, like through PWG, but like even before, like right when they came out of the backyard and they were starting to do indie shows was like right as I started to film wrestling, and they like stole the show, and I was just like, I need to videotape these moves to show my friends, like, look at what these guys are doing at the Legion Hall, you know. So like as soon as the match of Hardy's Young Bucks the first time got announced, I hit up Nick and was like, hey man, I want to make a documentary about this and tell this story of like you guys finally getting to wrestle like the guys you never thought you would be able to wrestle. And they were down with it, the Hardys were down with it. So I went on the trip with them, and it turned out to be more of a documentary of like, this is what life is like for a wrestler on the road, and this is what it's like for two guys who are attached at the hip and wrestle every weekend together that at home have babies and wives, and like this is how they make their money and this is how they live. And like, oh, just so happens like their best friend is about to leave to go to the WWE.
It's just amazing how that worked out.
It just all worked out, and I was just so lucky and thankful that like they were willing to give me the opportunity to tell this story, and that it all worked out, and like I could physically hold this and it's done. It's and it wasn't amazing. Just something that I was like, oh, someone should do that, and then no one did it. And then if somebody else did it, I would have been like, man, I wanted to do that. You know, like I did it myself.
And I'll tell you, I really enjoyed it too, because, you know, it's funny, I've never met Nick or Matt personally, and so just by looking on Twitter, a lot of people would think, oh, these guys are a couple of dicks.
Oh, yeah.
But no, you watch the DVD and you're like, no, they're just a character. They're characters on Twitter. They're actually really good people behind it, and they're family men, and they do everything right. Like even the whole thing with, obviously this show was founded by us and Booker T. The whole story behind the whole Booker T handshake, even Booker was laughing about it, like, man, this is just stupid.
It was so great, you know, like to get that in, and like the Hulk Hogan Macho Man style handshake, like, because that was all organic. Like it wasn't like, hey guys, can we shoot you guys shaking hands? It was like literally like standing in the locker room after the match, and Booker T was like, get this on film. And I was like, oh, yes, I will. Okay. You know, like, absolutely. You know,
and Booker's an ambassador for wrestling. You see what he's doing in Houston and how he's, you know, continuing the legacy of Paul Bosch. Like, he loves seeing guys like the Young Bucks who are making their own way.
Yeah, and two brothers, too.
Yeah. I mean, if you like
tag
wrestling.
Team wrestling.
Yeah, which is not easy. To sell tickets, tag team wrestling, and they're doing it. And if you can get this DVD, find a way to do it. Where can they find it?
They could buy it on highspots.com. Right now, Highspots is having a huge Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale. I don't know what their discount is, but I know they're having a huge sale.
Yeah.
Or DIYwrestling.com. But I'm going to give one away, and then you have a chance to win one. So if you tweet me at the Jimbo Slice with the hashtag Bucks, the number 2 sweet, with a picture of you wearing one of those sweet wrestling Compadres shirts.
Hey!
I'll let you guys pick a winner.
Sure.
And we'll send you one. That'll be like the free giveaway.
And if it's international, we'll split the postage.
Yeah. And if you want to win,
or Dale will cover the postage. Either one.
For people who have like seen it, that have the download but want the double disc because the bonus disc, there's a scene that I do like the Booker T reenactment where it's all done with action figures.
Nice.
If you can go through there and send me a list of all the action figures and you come close or get it right, I will send you one of these signed and a bunch of other goodies, because that was my favorite scene to shoot, and it took like a day.
I can imagine.
And it was so much fun. And then afterwards, like playing with all that stuff and destroying it was great.
That is too sweet. So yeah, take a picture of yourself wearing a Compadres t-shirt with the hashtag Bucks2Sweet, and we will get a DVD. You'll be a winner, and that'd be really cool. And congrats, because
thank you.
Documentaries are so painstaking to do, but they mean so much when they're completed.
Yeah.
And for those of us who love the business and love everything about it, this is a wrestling fans documentary.
Yeah, I'm hoping that like when their kids are like in their 20s and they go back and watch this, they'll be like, holy crap, dude, like 2 weeks after I was born, my dad was on a 3-week tour to Japan.
Yeah.
You know, like that is crazy.
They'll love it.
my dad left my brother or like his brother's wedding early to go wrestle at a wrestling show. Like that's crazy. Like just the things that people do.
So cool, man. Well, congratulations on
Thank you,
that.
sir.
With that said, Dale Rutledge, put yourself over, my friend.
You can find me on youtube.com/dishingonmovies. We've got a brand new episode up today.
Hey.
Good dinosaur dip. It's not made out of dinosaurs, so don't get concerned.
Okay.
You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at TheWalkingDale.
You making dinosaur food?
Yeah, son, you just gotta watch the video. You'll see.
Okay. Boogeyman's into it. Go ahead, James.
Follow me on Twitter at the Jimbo Slice. That's TheeJimboslice. Buy the DVD at highspots.com. And Insane Wrestling League, the IWL, they have a show on December 12th in Baldwin Park called Wreck the Halls. Check them out. They got a lot of good wrestlers there. A lot of people from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood will be there.
I love it.
So, yeah, support indie wrestling everywhere.
No doubt. Absolutely. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestlingandPadres. Black Friday sale all week with Pro Wrestling Tees. You'll get 20%. And let us know if you get anything. We always appreciate it. We'll retweet, do all that stuff. At Wrestling Buds, Facebook.com/WrestlingBuds. We just passed 2,700 likes on Facebook. So how about that? And also, I'm at Jay Quasso. The Whistle Sports Epic Tour is making its final stop this week. We just got back from Boston. Amazing time there for Notre Dame versus Boston College. This week, we are going to Winnipeg, Canada for the Grey Cup, which is the Canadian Football League version of the Super Bowl. It's going to be cold. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a game I never thought I'd have a chance to go to. We're going to have a lot of access all weekend. So if you're in Winnipeg or near Canada, or if you're going to the Grey Cup, I'll be there from Friday all the way to Monday. So hit me up on social media, and you could probably watch us film some stuff, maybe jump in. We need a lot of fan interaction, so, you know.
I wonder what they're going to strap to your back this time.
I know, anything. I wish I had the Canada soundbite. That's the closest I have. But we love Canada. It's a good time.
Oh, Canada.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We love you. We will see you next week.
Wrestling buddies want to be your buddies.
Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker. Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker.
Buddy.
Don't tell